For more information, visit themusichall.org or call 603 436 2400.
Right now, I should have on.
Please note the views expressed on this program are those of the host, not necessarily the view.
Now return to Round the Square, a weekly talk show hosted by Dan Freund. And we have guests. It's 9:31 and you're listening to WSCA, Portsmouth Community Radio. Here is Dan Freund with our guests Ryan and Emily from the Music Hall.
Where were we when we coming up?
Oh, I'm supposed to remember that? No, I do all this stuff. You're the one who's supposed to be engaged in the conversation and talking to the guests.
Well, we're talking about the Music Hall.
Yes, of course we were, Dan. And their favorite things about the history and the shows, the emerging artists that have happened. What's the shows that you wish? What's a fantasy show that each of? Wow,
I'm a child of the 90s.
Really, man? I'm surprised you're not wearing your white baseball cap backwards that says co-ed naked lacrosse or something like that, right?
That's in the.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. That was good. That was good.
I told him, don't wear that. Wow, that's.
Yes.
That's really. It's happened. No, we don't have. But I guess right now, like, probably.
Okay.
Super into that type of music.
Yeah.
I think.
Or how about Phoebe Matthews?
That.
That sounds easy.
A little mashup that wouldn't work
know
at
what that
all,
would
but
be
it could
like.
work. Yeah, we were talking about the grant program at the Music Hall before the break, so let's talk about that.
Okay.
Well, then you don't actually ask him if you want him to talk about it. You say, Ryan, talk about the grant program.
Let's rewind and
we can cut this part out.
Right.
Hey, Ryan, why don't you talk us about?
This is now considered me.
It's totally fine. I've had media training. Not great at it. So as part of our emerging artist benefit concert, just offer. And essentially, artists, art, professional, apply to, and people for art. And prize winners in Virginia. Grant winners on that day. Lounge and also set. So it Raz, who you like? Oh, yeah. Our winners.
Are these local artists?
So in
and other. Like who should?
Allie Neal.
Yeah.
Is Robin. So, yeah. They're
Artists as
yes on
finds that.
yeah, it's on our website. Starting as we launch, but
So it seems like there's a lot of series. Which is your favorite series and highlights? Coming soon.
So I mean, one of my favorites now,
Which is coming up.
Definitely,
Yep.
yep. And besides the festivals, it's also other favorite holiday.
Talk about Navzaguri for the rest of the half hour because we basically fill 7 hours of radio and shows.
You have Nat on here.
We haven't yet because I haven't actually met him. We
he's
saw him
great.
at Legend. Was the show he did?
Like we're
Yeah, it's I was going to say Legends of Rock, but that's right. Yes. I feel like I have a non-sexual music crush on that series, and want him to do monthly start booking as a regular thing that would be happy for me.
we
Your
definitely
listener-
plan on having him back again. He
Right?
just,
Listener,
The
Yeah.
guy
they
lights
love Navzaguri.
he lights up the stage, dude.
Yeah,
It-
he
it's like he's
for 3 hours,
for
nonstop.
Yeah, and I can only imagine because I saw him walking to his Volvo or one night after the show, he's just like after the show, like after sweating and like performing as Jerry Lee Lewis for 2.5 hours, like literally bounded to his car like a honestly like that's the way that he probably is in real.
Yeah,
And he's great. And yeah, he did Stellar Quartet, which was Frozen.
And
Sound of Music. I get to. But that's
Do you
personal.
compare notes?
We do. We
It's
we
like
used
this
to
thing
work.
needs to get done.
we
Can you
we,
put me in
we
contact?
try not to talk too much shop at home, but it's unavoidable.
what is the weirdest thing that you dealt with? I mean, and it could. Sorry. Love you, Stelmach.
Like especially on like
Yeah,
that's a important question.
I think that there are certain stories of patrons that come in.
Yeah, but you guys aren't. I mean, we're not smack talking. Like weird
I
thing.
know.
No,
like
I
somebody
just-
came in and they had a ferret that they had to, put in the refrigerator for 9 hours,
I don't
like for
have
the
a
show,
story
or
like that.
how about a rider? What's the weirdest rider in a contract you've seen?
I do know that someone who had to have a pin.
So you actually had somebody bring in a pinball? Was it
Yeah.
Tai Ueda who brought in the pinball machine? he's a local pinball machine restorer. Like legit, like the only person I've ever met who wants to do that is into also do music and ambient stuff. It's very weird, but very cool. Which pinball machine was it?
Oh, I don't.
Because we went up to GameSpot about a month and a half ago, and it was amazing because they have this vintage era
Fun spot.
Fun Spot. What did I say?
GameStop.
GameStop.
Game
I said
Spot.
GameSpot, and I meant Fun Spot up in Laconia. So yeah, that's why the only reason why I'm asking
Yeah.
is because a pinball machine. Who has one?
No, to be honest. But there are, I mean, the riders,
So,
yes, there
yeah.
are, you know, red Skittles, yellow Starburst,
Yeah.
requests, but that's not something.
No,
It's
oh,
like
no.
everyone's
Pinball
got
machine
their-
backstage? Like, did you have to unplug it during the performance so that it wouldn't make noise? Or on stage? Was it like
No, it
public
wasn't on stage, but it was definitely backstage.
I guess they thought to the. Who was the only-
They wanted him to sign it?
No, they wanted to
Yeah.
perform.
Oh.
So they.
What's
So,
interesting, and
If I get called up on stage, will you bring me my cello from the box
You
office?
never
then,
know what's
please?
gonna happen.
Right?
and I wasn't
You gotta be
smack
prepared
talking
for all.
patrons
No.
before. It's more about the fact that they're very they're
Passionate.
so passionate about the artist.
Yeah.
Grandparents, so I think it's been such an through the music out a lot of people passion.
It's really cool. I'll go. So cool.
So have there been any writers that you chat about? And you brought stuff from your own personal collection, the halls, so that they sign it? Or yeah, I have a first out-of-print comic book.
It's weird being a staff member, and
Yeah.
so you don't want to cross that line.
No, I know,
Yeah,
I know,
so
but like
I wanted to many times. I mean,
Yeah.
Richard Russo was an artist that we had a writer that we for me. Very person, and I picked up one of his Firefalls, and I passionate.
Oh, dude, that's great. And you
And-
met him.
And I did meet him. I wanted to tell him the story. I was very new.
Yeah, I mean,
Stargazing, kind of,
It's okay
you know?
to say that here. You
Yeah,
know? You don't
yeah.
want to say that at work because
No,
then
no,
they're,
no.
they're like, oh, is he geeking out? About
Yeah.
it? So-
So, and I did tell the literally that, and they, so I went very,
Well, so
personal.
what we're going to do in the future for Round the Square is you guys are going to book cool artists and music writers, theater people. Come on the show Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Once a month.
Great.
You can pick whoever's going to be that week. It's easy. Give enough time. And we'll call it Always. So it'll be like we're talking to people. And I also like the idea of one of you, interviewing somebody in the back hallways of the music hall, backstage, like not notes, because I mean you would never give an artist notes after sound
Stage
check
notes?
before performance. Like no, not that, but like something where it would be something behind the scenes, one thing that people don't know about you before you go on stage, and literally an audio clip of that is all we would need. I think would be really cute and fun, and give you guys something to do that would WS.
Love this. I'm
Yeah.
serious about offering you apartment.
Hey man,
These are some good ideas.
I will take a consulting gig. I don't think I'm other jobs at this as I'm still just a trivia host and stuff. So yeah, that's full time stuff, and we'll talk more about me. Come up. I got ideas. Dan's got ideas.
I've got a lot by.
Yeah.
So
We talked about membership. We talked about future shows. We talked about past shows. Let's talk about shows in the other dimension, where you could just pick people out of the ether and put them on stage and see how they do. Let's pick your 4 fantasy, live or dead, that you put on stage. Musicians, actors, performers, whatever.
Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra's a great one.
Beatles.
That would count as one. Okay, the Beatles.
Yeah.
Would they be his backup band? That would be pretty rocking.
Get Frank
Yeah.
and the Beatles.
Frank and Beatles.
Awesome. Bob Dylan.
Okay.
Come on.
Dylan and Sinatra, I don't know if their voices would really harmonize well, but they would do their own thing
They
individually.
definitely will.
You know, like they told Dylan at how Michael Jackson told Dylan sing as Bob Dylan. He's like, just, you know. Or I think Quincy Jones said that to him. But yeah, when somebody says to Bob Dylan, just do what you do, man. He does.
He does. He does what
So,
he does.
so you got Frank, the Beatles, Bob, and who's the fourth?
Like, want to represent comedy,
Okay.
and not just. I would love, but Eddie Murphy, an
Singing
80s Murphy.
80s Eddie Murphy, like in the studio with Rick James, like
Yeah,
My Girl Wants to Party all the
more
time.
stand-up comedy.
Delirious
Okay.
Raw, like
Yeah.
which era? Like, because he.
You know, they're pretty similar eras.
Yeah, yes.
And I'm not sure his comedy would land nowadays. in
No,
today's,
no, but now what he's doing is actually kind of almost a shout out to the fact that he
Yeah.
was a comedian.
Mm.
If he was around today, would be king.
Yeah.
Emily, 4 artists you would put on stage.
Okay.
Fantasy.
All
Living or
stage
Dead.
together. Like, what
Well,
are they all doing?
I think that was the question. So it's
Oh,
really
that's a
fantasy
lot.
up to you. You pictured
Right.
the Beatles, Frank Sinatra, Bob
I
Dylan.
did. I was like, what are they all
and-
doing?
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can
Hey.
choose from like our so for right off the bat. Favorite comedian. Oh, he's like you're definitely.
I know.
He was the piano guy, right? No, that's somebody.
No.
It was somebody else who did political humor that was on cable TV when I was a kid, and he just sung at a piano, and I thought it was.
Edward was very
This is
like
years ago.
Deadpan,
yeah,
like,
very
Yeah.
deadpan. If I buy a donut, you
See.
I don't need
Yeah.
proof that I purchased a donut.
Yeah. Great joke. I love
I
that.
That's a great
love that
joke.
It's funny that I know that one.
Okay, Mitch Hedberg, I think musicians. I was listening.
Okay.
Oh. The Terrorists. Okay, author, they correct the. They're all like things like this is off the top of my head.
Yep. Movie.
Movie,
Movie.
okay.
Go any
Oh
genre,
my
any
gosh.
era.
Movie act.
Movie
film
actor
show.
would fulfill the show.
Okay, about
Oh,
That's what I'm
nice. Just
Neve
post-
or Nev?
I
Just-
don't know.
just
I
part-
don't know her personally.
Post Party of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was also a band that named themselves and NEV, and they were new.
Driving my high school. Matthews band, my hat, and my party of 5.
Yeah, right. I wrote a song called "I'm Not Jordan." Jordan Catalano was my soul color, but it was in the same block of Fox TV.
Mm-hmm.
Time that Dan, you know,
Sometimes that happens.
Dan, you know what time it is?
Oh, what?
It's up,
Yeah.
and I have to put
Do
my
you need your
glasses on.
glasses?
I did just put my glasses on. It's time for the real estate report with Dan Freund. Here's Dan Freund with the real estate report.
Well, thank you for that very kind introduction. Today we're going to Buckingham Trafford. Total active properties right now. Average price
Bazinga!
over the last 30 days, 400 sold at an average dollars with an average days still tracked average days on market. And that has
Dan, let's talk about in the real estate realm.
let's let the music or fade down.
Dan, let's talk about the micro condos that are about to be world. Talk to me about micro condominiums.
Micro condos. Yeah, I just saw the cutting 500.
One of the most artistic garages I've ever seen in my life. Never been over there. Go to Foundry. So Dan, talk to me about micro condos. People, is it workforce housing? Is it lesser expensive housing? So come and live in Portland place. Micro condo, does it mean a micro price, or is it like
That is,
and like 50,000 people could live there because they just have to live in a closet?
you're putting me on the spot, and I don't have an answer to that.
Okay,
because
cool.
I don't know what finding. They are, smaller footprint will be less, but still a regardless of outside. Y'all love so.
And we're going to finish up here with Ryan and Emily from the music hall. What's the oddest artifact you found at the music? Either left by an artist, or maybe you're up in the catwalk, or down in the basement,
Or left by the
the ghost. Because you guys still do the ghost life thing, right?
We're not at theater working, so we don't get this,
These kind of questions, you sit in the office and
well, I'm always saying I'm a
Like a
desk
technical-
guy.
yeah,
but
you're a
I'm-
desk guy.
Yeah.
I feel
Because
it.
in this industry, most people.
Oh
or
no no no
something.
no no no! There are people who I know work here specifically after,
Yeah.
but they still want to be around.
Yeah, it's,
You know,
it's
so
the
if you-
love of the art.
Okay, since you guys are office people, what's the one job at the theater, or wish you could sit in and do, like Aiden up in the booth or doing the spot?
I
Or
mean, I
curtains,
think,
like-
I think there's a lot of envy for programming.
that's still in the office. I'm talking about like
It's-
during the run of a show or during something
I
like
think it'd
that's
be fun to
happening
be
at the hall.
I think it'd be fun to be a
Okay,
fun to be
the guy with the
backstage.
earphone that's
Yep.
telling what and watching the
Calling the
script and
show.
calling
Mhm.
the calling the cues,
letting
and
us
everything.
out, and we have
Yeah.
to do curtain speech. To
Okay.
go backstage and are getting very theatrical,
Oh.
very nervous going out on stage. But I always think it's fun that they're back there. They're also a part of night or acts come on. So I think it would be fun to be part of loading that, 4 big buses, setting up the show, and then at 11 o'clock at night, stripping it down, loading it back on the bus.
The theater's back to
Sending
its
them
on.
original status.
Yeah,
that's
it's back
great.
to the original, and for something the next day. So I think fun and
How
have about
And you're the
when
only
you have your
we are always looking.
what are
Volunteer.
one
Hanging
job
out
that I've always
Play-Dohs.
felt is self-describing. Somebody asks you what they do exactly
They
that.
usher,
They
you,
usher.
ushers,
Yeah.
yep. But that's an important job, especially when you have 900 people and sitting or five ushers, 5 volunteers.
Has there ever been a show that gets the music hall to capacity, including staff and everybody, all inclusive? How many people? And with staff, that doesn't include staff also, or is that capacity?
That's capacity.
That means
That's
top
all
number.
in.
Okay,
Yeah.
all in. Everybody. Has it ever been?
I mean, Yo-Yo Mom,
Yeah.
definitely. Sold out.
Out, but
Yeah, of course.
the people that show up,
Yes.
it's never
Never sold out.
800 of
I'm just.
them.
I
Yeah.
mean, I know that there's people with the clicky thing that goes.
Yeah.
That counts each person in. I'm just
We-
wondering, has
we
there
haven't-
ever been a? Oh my God, we're at our actual capacity.
Well, we can't sell past.
No, and I know you can't. I,
Because
I,
I turn people
I-
And we
away.
don't
I
use
know.
clickers anymore.
In my ideal mind, it's a 9,000-year-old dude who that's his one job and has volunteered
Just
since
click
the
away.
music hall's been open, and has that little handheld clicky thing.
I mean, that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
To get
Yeah.
it to max capacity.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
Well, thank you guys so much for being
Yes,
here.
thank you for coming on.
The musichall.org. What's the next show? Is there anything happening tonight?
Film tonight.
The
cinema
Check in the
tonight.
internet. That's what I do. I put the on the spot.
yeah. There's a
film called Janet,
Janet
Planet.
Planet.
Oh, right on. I actually was walking by the. I actually thought it was the name of a band. And I was like,
No,
that's a cool
that's-
name for a band.
That's
That
it
is
is
a cool
good
name.
It's a
for
good,
band.
cool name for a
But
movie.
I'd say the next biggest will probably, although we only have a
Who is it? It's gonna be a dance party in downtown
Dance
Portsmouth on Sunday,
alert.
y'all. That's Sunday night, right?
Yes.
Sunday night.
Yeah, I was. Okay, cool. Dan, what else you got?
Well, don't. The music. Walk from. Remember, when you are walking through.
Round the square! Awesome, everybody. That was great. First time we've ever had a round of applause. Thank you, Scott.
All right, thank you. So that was okay. We did all right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.